Hey everybody, it's Chris, and tonight we're looking at the Evader, and we're going to look at it in several plastics, Lucid-X, Lucid, and also the Glimmer SE, just to get a comparison of flights, kind of get a feel for how those different plastics are working. Now I don't have a hybrid, so I can't compare that, but we'll get these ones in and try to give you an idea of how they fly. Now first, I have two Lucid-X, and they are going to be different. And I want to show you the difference in person. I'm going to put a picture on the dome, but if you've heard anything about the Lucid-X, this Mugs one is super overstable. Like, people are calling them baby felons, and I think that's pretty accurate. I've actually compared them to the old Tridents I carried because they like to flare skip. Not as much as a Trident, but they do like to flare skip. Now, what I want to point out is one very simple thing. If you get a Lucid-X, and you can see how domey this one is, and you can see the dome moving when I squish it, like that's a firm dome on this. These are meat hooks. This doesn't throw like any of the other Evaders in there. This is going to be meat hook. It's not as fast as a Felon, but it's going to fly similar to one. But this is one of the new Tina Oakley ones. And if you look, not as much dome, and it's not nearly as rigid. This is much squishier, softer top. These are not nearly as meat hooky. Now you're going to see they're still more overstable than the Lucid or the Glimmer for sure, but they are not just straight meat hook. You're going to get a lot of flight, especially if you tip it, and then a hard fade. So if you're ordering a Lucid-X Evader, you're going to want to, and you get one, when you get one in your hand, you're going to want to see, is it a meat hook or is it going to have some straight flight to it? Because there is going to be a difference. That dome, super meat hook, that squishy, puddly, not puddly, but the softer top, a little bit straighter. So I think that's an important piece of information. We're also going to look at Lucid, and I'm going to carry two. One's a 173, so closer to max weight, and a 169. I actually like high 160s fairway drivers, so we'll talk about those and why I like to bag both, and then we'll look at the Glimmer as well. This one got some grief when it first came out. People are saying it was flippy, and I do think it's flippier than the other ones, but I do want to show it in flight, because I think if you throw this one correctly, it's actually a really nice complement to those if you want to carry a bunch of them. So let's go to the video. Again, not a lot of great shots. I'm just rusty. I'm not throwing super well right now, but do what we can, and yeah. As always, thanks for watching. Put your questions and comments below, and I'll try to get some more videos out soon, but I can't promise with the hands. So thanks for watching. Let's start the Evader conversation with the SE Glimmer release. Now, when this plastic came out, I actually had people contact me and say, hey, in your proto review, the disc seemed more overstable. And I think what they were seeing was this. As you can see in that throw, I tipped that disc over, and it holds that turn for quite a while before fading out. And what I found with the Glimmer, especially this disc, is that if I do turn it over, it seems to want to hold that line longer than any of the other plastics. So this one seems to be more angle sensitive than the others, which is weird because usually that's a mold thing, not a specific plastic thing. But the SE for me does just seem to be a little bit more angle sensitive. That said, it is also the farthest flying of the Evaders for me. So it's really nice for in the woods. I can power it down just a little bit. It has a touch more glide. And if I hit power, it likes to flip up and just cruise forward. Next disc up is the most thrown Evader in my bag. It's the 169 Lucid. This is my main backhand thrower with the Evaders. You're going to see it is definitely more reliable than the SE. I'm going to tip all of these. You can see the stability causes the wing to flatten out and fade harder. So I should just admit the SE just isn't overstable. It's not just nose angle thing. But the SE, again, does glide better, whereas the Lucid I can throw harder, snap harder, and just get a reliable flight out of. Let's move on to a heavier Lucid 173. There isn't a ton of difference for me between throwing between the high 160s and the mid 170s with the Evader. I think it's mostly mental. I will grab the 170s every once in a while if it's a little bit windier, just because that mental aspect of it's heavier, so it should fly better. But really, flight-wise, backhand, they're pretty similar. I use this one actually more for forehand. This is my primary forehand disc at this point. It just has a really nice flight for me. But as you can see here, it flies very similar to the 169. Now let's move on to the Lucid-X, and we're going to start with a softer top version, this Tina Oakley die. I had already had the pop top, so I was really curious how this was going to compare. And when I got out to the field and started testing, I was pretty excited. As you can see, it's still pretty overstable. And in the flights, you're going to see it's definitely more overstable than any of the Lucid. On this one with that hard tilt, it flattens out. It's going to fade hard left, much harder left than the Lucids would. But the cool part is it didn't seem to sacrifice a lot of distance. It was usually within 5-10 feet distance-wise of the Lucid, even though it was much more overstable. So it added a nice new spectrum of stabilities for me with the Evader without being just a meat hook, which I like. It's going to give me a nice stable option, more reliable option for the wind. And then finally we have the Domi or pop top Lucid-X Evaders, and these are almost a different disc stability-wise. These are the ones people are referring to as like baby felons. I've compared them to a Trident. Now they aren't a Trident, please don't say I said they were, but I like the fact that they are a little bit slower than the Felon, and they like to skip a little bit if you put them on a low line drive. But you can see the stability on these. That first throw you could see the wing was tilting down. The second one I tried to turn over hard, and you can see the correction and then the hard fade. This one I had to go search for in the grass because I messed up the throw. Like, this is a meat hook disc, very reliable. I am actually using it quite a bit. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit slower than the Felon, Lucid-X Evader is a very good option in that category. That said, those are the different plastic types I've thrown. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please put them below so I can get back to you. Otherwise, please reach out to Dynamic Discs or Hazy Shade. Those are my two sponsors this year. I appreciate you sending some support their way or sending some love their way, as they have done for me the past few years. So, hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later. Bye. One last bonus Lucid-X comparison. We're going to have pop top on the top frame, soft top on the lower frame. As you can see, the pop top is going to start going left much sooner. It's fighting to the earth much faster, and it's not going to cover as much distance. That's that extra stability for you.